Kenya's Gold.
Interesting, insightful features there with Emmanuel Terrer, who's not with us in studio today. He's out in the field interacting with some mango farmers, but he will be back with us in studio as from tomorrow. So do look forward to that. Now, our guest, wameongezeka, we now have Dr. Kibet, who is a certified vet. Thank you so very much for making time to be with us today. And we're going to get straight into the conversation. We're very honored to have different key players right here with us. And I'll start with our farmers, Gen Z wetu pale Njeri, and also Mr. David. We'd like to hear from you. Which breeds of sheep are you keeping? And also, why did you go for that particular variety that you do have? I'll start with you, Gen Z.
Oh, nice. So, at the farm, we had Merino and Corriedale. But at the end of the day, I love my food and I love cooking. The meat wasn't quite right. So we ended up changing to the Hampshire Down, which are just basically ideal for highland areas, and they are fantastic. Kama unapenda chakula, upikiwe Hampshire Down, na mimi kwanza, utabadilisha.
It has to be with you.
It has to be with me.
Right. So when we talk about Hampshire Down, we know it as a dual purpose sheep, but you're talking about it mostly with regards to its meat, which is very good. Please talk to us about how the market for wool is here in the country. And if a farmer was to get into keeping Hampshire Down for the purpose of wool, would it be beneficial to them?
Let's put it this way. Just before COVID, when we had a lot of importers and processors coming in the country, they used to buy the wool for about 45 to 55 shillings a kilo. Right now, we are not enjoying the same benefit on the wool farming. Maybe that's why it doesn't come on top of my head, but it has started trickling in just a little bit. We are talking about 15 bob to 25 bob a kilo of wool.
So it has dropped from 45.
It has dropped. But on the other hand, the meat has gone up.
Right.
Because you can get a kilo of meat for up to 800 bob.
Right.
So the benefit is still there.
It's still there as we work on our wool sector.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so very much for that. Coming to you, Mr. David, pengine utuambie kwa shamba yako iko wapi, and also which breed of sheep are you keeping and why?
Konda ambapo mimi nafuga ni Red Maasai na niko Narok County, Transmara South. Hizi kondoo za Red Maasai ni kondoo ambapo imenifurahisha tangu nianze kufuga. Hiyo nimeanza samani. Hiyo ni urithi wa baba yangu.
Right. So you've kept it for very many years.
Yes.
Right. So there's the challenge of Red Maasai being an indigenous breed that is mostly kept by the Maasai community, and it's part of the East African community type of sheep. Inaenda kipungua. Because of crossbreeding, we are losing the pure indigenous breed of the Red Maasai. Is that a challenge you're experiencing, and are we having conversations on preserving that indigenous breed?
Yeah, that is a big challenge. Kwa sababu saisi Kenya mzima huwezi pata Red Maasai ijapokuwa kwangu kule Transmara peke yake. Wakulima wengi wamechukua kule kutoka kwangu, sana sana Calro zote Kenya wamechukua kwangu, na wakulima wa Kenya kwa ujumla wamekuja kuchukua kwangu. So tunajaribu kuongelesha wakulima wa improve hii breed ya Red Maasai kwa sababu ni breed mzuri sana. Vile mimi nimejua umuhimu wa hii breed kupitia kwa baba wangu, tena nikakuja kupitia kwa research. Kuna research wamefanya, ilikuwa 2018, African Union, AUIBA pamoja na Kenya wamefanya research, wakakuja kunipeleka training. Kwa hiyo mwaka kitu kimoja ambapo nimesikia kwa hiyo research, hii kondoo ni muhimu sana. Ukikula nyama zake, mafuta yake, kwa hii dunia ya saizi ya magonjwa yatapungua. Alafu tena ni nyama ambapo ukikula ni nyama tamu sana kuliko nyama zingine za mifugo.
Kushinda hiyo Hampshire?
Hapana, mimi nitakataa kidogo hapo, lakini nitasema nyama yetu pia ni nzuri. Kwa Hampshire nyama yake output ni nzuri, ni nyama nyingi. So we're able to have very good output in terms of the quality of meat, in terms of the quantity of meat. And in a fast world, in the world that we are living in, we are looking at how much money can you get from your output. And like David says, yes, you're also looking at the at the quality of meat in terms of medicinal purposes.
Right.
One thing that you should know about Hampshire is that most people would eat sheep and they get those tunaitanga mathundo unafura kila mahali kwa mwili. Unapata a lot of allergies. But when it comes to Hampshire, that is one of the key reasons also we had to change, because I loved my meat, but I couldn't enjoy the Corriedale and the Merino because of the reactions that I used to get.
Right.
So with this, you don't get. Na pia haina harufu. Hata nikitembea nikuje nitembee kati yenu, hamutajua ni mimi.
Umetoka kukula kanyama hapo. So for anyone with allergies, they should try the meat from the Hampshire.
Definitely.
All right. Yes. I'll come straight to you, Mr. William. You are in the space of importing pure breeds, but first tumesikia pale Mr. David akona Red Masai. We have Njeri, our Gen Z with the Hampshire Down. I want you to talk to us about the importance of preserving that indigenous. Kwa sababu sasa unajua ukisikiza wakulima wengi wa kondoo, they'll tell you dopa. Ni kama sasa tunaanza kusahau some of the breeds like the Red Masai inakuwa ni kama by the way. So is it very important as we also focus on dopa, which has very good meat quality, and should we also focus on the Red Masai as well?
Yes.
Yeah, to start with, I would say it's very critical to preserve our native breeds in Kenya. If I take his example for Red Masai, there are those attributes that are well aligned to our climatic conditions. Like Red Masai would be the most ideal sheep for all breed improvements because, one, it is highly adapted to the climatic conditions, especially hardy conditions. The breed also is also resistant to ticks and diseases, especially tropical diseases. And the other thing you'll find is that the animal doesn't require a lot of maintenance. It can just survive in very remote areas without much supplementation. Yeah.
All right. So it's very important for us to preserve it.
Yes.
You want to add something, Mr. David?
Yeah, I think he answered very, very well. Because this animal, ni kufuga kwake ni rahisi. Haiwezi kugaramisha kama wanyama wengine. Na unapeleka tu wakule nyasi ya kawaida.
Right.
Na ni mnyama ambapo inaistahimili climate yoyote. Magonjwa pia ni hivyo hivyo. So ni mnyama ambapo ni muhimu sana kwa wakulima.
Right. Thank you so much for that. I'll come to you, Dr. Muya, and also Dr. Kibet, our professional vets that we do have the pleasure of having in studio right now. Let us talk about the animal health space. And even before we get to the diseases that attack our sheep and also how farmers can mitigate that, we need to address the situations that our vets are going through. According to the last animal census, which was done in 2019, we had about 27.4 million sheep alone. And if you look at the data we are getting from Kenya Veterinary Association, professional vets ni kama 2,800. It feels like it's an overwhelmed department. Is that the reason as to why wakulima wengi watakwambia we are having late professional vet services and also so many farmers are not vaccinating their animals? What can we do to improve this sector for vets like you so that you can take care of farmers like Njeri and Mr. David that we have here in studio? I'll start with you, Dr. Kibet.
Yeah, I think it's first a challenge that we have a few vets, and I think what you talked about with Kenya Veterinary Association is that those are vet surgeons, but now we have paravets who actually supplement also the work of vet surgeons. Because, yeah, I think I've seen a lot of farmers complain that it says that the vet is late, it says that the vet is inconsistent. So this brings actually a challenge to maybe managing your farm, because you are the one who are hands-on, especially on disease, animal health, nutrition and things like that. So I think for us, how we work, for example, our work is I have a group of farmers, I register them so that we can have, for example, monthly visits, so that we have some consistencies, and also we work with a team of vets so that in case you are not available, we have someone else to come in.
Right. Yeah. Great, but we need to improve the sector to add more vets to help our farmers. Because I'm sure as of now, if we get the latest data on animals, najua wameongezeka compared to how many they were in 2019. Thank you so much for that. And now to you, Dr. Muia. Unajua tutaambiwa sheep ni survivor. Anaweza survive anywhere. Unaweza fanya mpaka mkulima dhani, I don't need to take matters, their health seriously. Talk to us about the importance of taking animal health for sheep very seriously, and also some of the common diseases that sheep farmers face.
Thank you so much, Ngina, for that. From my professional experience, from what Kibet has just said, you find most of our clients, they will most likely engage a vet when a condition has already arisen in their farms. So I find this one not good for our farmers. So I would prefer a farmer to establish a good management plan with their vets, right from when the sheep are coming to the farm, and they work together up to the point of production. This one will happen more so when a farmer familiarizes themselves with the vets that are within their area. Then they have a management plan whereby a vet will be walking to their farms, even when conditions have not arisen. Then from there, watakuwa wanaweza kufuatana na mkulima vizuri, na pia wazuie yale magonjwa ambayo yanaweza tokea kwa kipindi kile vet ako amekuja pale shambani. Kwa upande mwingine, in terms of sheep production na goat production, tumekuwa tukiona wakulima wengi sana wanasema hawa wanyama wakiwachiliwa shambani wanaweza jitafutia chakula yao bila kuangaliwa in terms of, unajua tumeona vile ng'ombe wanatunzwa si kama vile sheep wanatunzwa. And I can say that the reason why tumekuwa na challenge mingi even in terms of nutrition ni sababu wakulima wetu wanangoja sana hadi the last point wakati wanataka kuuza mifugo wao ndio wanaanza kuweka a lot of effort ndio wanenepeshe. Lakini wanasahau ya kwamba our sheep need consistency even right from birth. Wakati amezaliwa, that route of management right from amezaliwa all the way to the point of sale needs to be well structured to at least apate profits at the right time.
Right.
Yes.
So Dr. Muya, you are advising our farmers to make sure that they walk the journey with a vet from the very beginning. Wasingoje wakati wa ugonjwa.
In fact, mimi nitasema ya kwamba before you introduce even your animals in the farm, make sure you have contacts with a vet who is going to help you right from introduction and work with you until you achieve your production goals.
Kuna mtu atasikia hiyo nadhani, won't that be too much money? There's so much consultation. Will I be able to afford that? Siniende niongeze kondom mwingine badala nishinde nikilipa for just a consultation. Talk to us about the price ranges of that, because that's one of the reasons as to why a lot of farmers shy away from walking that journey with a professional vet from the very beginning.
Thank you so much. Niseme ya kwamba prevention is even better than cure. Ukiangalia most of the diseases that we face in sheep, the cost of preventing that disease is much lower compared to the cost of treating that disease. Because most of these diseases that we face in our farms, utapata by the time you are calling a vet, already kondoo kama wawili watatu wamekufa tayari. Hiyo ni hasara. Ukikombea hile na ile cost ambayo ungeita vet akuwe kwa shamba yako right from the beginning na mtembee na yeye hata mnunue vaccines pamoja, basi inaweza kuwa cost ambayo iko chini kuliko ile cost ya kusema tuwatibu. Sababu tukiwatibu tutapoteza wengi zaidi even during the course of treatment.
Right.
Yes.
David, naona unaitikia.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Wewe umekuwa ukitembea hii safari na vet. How has that experience been for you?
Hiyo vile daktari amejibu ni safi kabisa, amejibu vizuri. Kwa sababu tukiwa wakulima, tukiona dalili yoyote ya magonjwa, tunapigia hawa, wanakimbia, wanaona ni nini, alafu kama ni vaccine wanakuja kuvaccine hao wanyama kabla ugonjwa ija.
Right. Thank you so much for that. We are taking our first break, but of course we have to tease our farm joke question of the day. Mnajua hapa kuna kwanga na farm joke question, and all of you will have to give me an answer at the end of the show. Na leo swali yetu ni rahisi sana. What's a fisherman's favorite part in a payslip? Fisherman akichukua payslip yake angalia venye inakwanga na different deductions nini pale, different titles here and there. What's a fisherman's favorite part? Please don't overthink it. Alafu mtanipatia answer at the end of the show. We are taking a break. When we come back, we will task Mr. William to help us as farmers know how we can deal with the issue of con men and women who pose as perfect and professional breeders. That and more after this break. And we are back. Thank you so much for staying with us. In case you're just joining us, welcome to Kenya's Gold. And today we do have different key players in the sheep value chain, from farmers to experts to vets, and they are helping us understand a lot more when it comes to sheep farming. Now, I want Jerry, our Gen Z, you talk to us and tell us, kwa shamba yako, keeping your Hampshire down, and because you've also kept the likes of Merino, which diseases have you dealt with in your farm?
Okay, right now we only specialize in Hampshire Down. So the biggest challenge, especially last year, what we experienced is something they call the LSD, the lumpy skin disease. And I think it was featured in one of your shows where the farmers were really complaining because ng'ombe na hizi general livestock walikuwa kona like pimples or boils on their skin. And we could not access any form of vaccine. We did not know what we were dealing with. So today I can say that I know it's LSD, but then we didn't know.
You didn't know at that time?
Yes.
Right, just before we get expertise advice from Dr. Kibet, I want you to bring up another point that you mentioned, even with the vet surgeons that we have, ambao Kibet amesema tuko na mpaka paravets, you have a concern because they don't understand your small ruminants. Talk to us about how that has been a challenge for you.
That has been a challenge. Like now in my region, which is Nyandarua, when we get the vets coming, they are more qualified to treat the large ruminants, and I guess that is what they learn in school. Like even within my farm, I've employed somebody who's learned, or rather has gone to school, a degree in animal husbandry. But you can imagine at the end of the day, when it comes to smaller animals, he will tell you that they are not well equipped to deal with them.
Right.
So for me is a challenge to the vets. The ones who understand, could they even come back and resolve that issue to us? Like as farmers, they need to give us extension services whereby we are taught to understand some of these things.
Right.
Because it could be able to address that issue of the deficit of vets.
Right.
But again, how do you come and teach me when you don't know?
Right.
Yes.
So unapata uko na vet, yes, ni professional lakini anaelewa ng'ombe. Ikifika mambo ya goats, sheep, they do not have a clue. And I can see David, you're also nodding. So that is a challenge that you have faced in your farm. All right, I'll come to you, Dr. Kibet. Umesikia lumpy skin disease, the skin of your animal, kama ni ng'ombe, kama ni sheep, unaona nika mefura to small boils and they're all over the body. What is the cause of that disease? Na mimi kama mkulima nikipata ng'ombe wangu ama sheep wangu amepata, what am I supposed to do?
I think just to be sure what our Gen Z is talking about. Were the sheep affected by lumpy skin, or you mean the cows?
The sheep. The sheep.
Because I think for sheep mostly it's sheep and goat pox, which actually in cattle is called lumpy skin disease, LSD. They are almost, they are viral diseases that are caused by almost the same virus, but the same family. And so I think the main thing that we will usually do is prevention. We have for lumpy skin disease, we have vaccines for that. And yes, it has been a challenge. I think also where I come from, Narok and Kajiado, we have had a lot of cases of lumpy skin disease and also sheep and goat pox. So there is a vaccine that is actually produced by Kenya Veterinary, Kevavapi. So this vaccine, you actually inject it once in a year, and it actually ensures that there is immunity against the disease. So it's actually important to make sure that you have records for this vaccination, so that you don't have to wait until there is an outbreak in your neighbor, so that you have to vaccinate.
Right.
Another challenge she's talked about is the vets. So I think the vet surgeons, yes, are less, but we have paravets. I know that there are more than 10,000 in the country. And yes, we are in different fields. For example, my friend here, Peter Mutinda, I think is much more experienced with nutrition. Me, I'm much more experienced with maybe animal health, things like diseases, such things. So it's important to know what you want. If it's about diseases, just go with someone who has the expertise of that. Yeah.
Right. Sasa sumona tayari kuna
shida. Ngoja kidogo ngena. Si tunaweza chapana hapa. Sasa unasikia amesema hiyo hata anaita goat pox. Lakini you can imagine when we called the vets to diagnose the disease, what did they tell us? LSD. And actually, in fact, a vaccine was rolled out last year for LSD, and it was vaccinated the sheep and the cows. So does that tell you that there's actually a disparity in information and also what people know on the ground? And when I say the experts, poleni vets, the experts.
So as you can see, there's already a challenge there. Chenye mkulima ameambiwa ni LSD, expert amekuja akatuambia it's goat and sheep pox. So a lot of awareness needs to be done. I can see, David, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something. That disease, sheep pox, inataka control kabla haijashika mifugo, kwa sababu ikishika mifugo itawamaliza. So in fact hiyo dalili ikionekana kwa area, feta akimbie achanje kabla hiyo ugonjwa hujalipuka, kwa sababu ikilipuka inamaliza wanyama sana wale wamenona na wale wadogo. Inadhiri kabisa.
Great. Thank you so much for that. It goes ahead to prove the fact that vaccination is very important.
Yes.
All right. Now coming to you, Mr. William. Wakulima wanataka pure breeds. Njeriga wants a pure Hampshire breed. Red Masai pale tunajaribu kupreserve, and so many other farmers in the country wanatafuta Dopa pure breed. But we do have a lot of briefcase breeders and importers. Mtu anaenda naiba picha huko online, anaeka kwa site yake, mkulima anaenda ananunua, lakini Kenya analetewa kwa nyumba. Very different. Please talk to us about that challenge of fake breeders and what regulations we can put in place to close that gap.
Thank you, Gena. I think you have highlighted a very pertinent issue. The issue of scammers, fake breeders is becoming prevalent with the emerging issues, especially with the social media coming on board. And I always say, let's start where it starts. You find that there is a big difference between a farmer and a breeder. A farmer, you can customize any animal and you reproduce that animal. But when you talk of breeding, it goes with discipline, it goes with integrity and consistency. You have to be, to make it right, choose what you want to breed. You have to select the right genetic, and you have to breed right, and you have to be consistent, and you have to keep the records. But whether you are a farmer or whether you are a breeder, the end goal is the value chain. And that's where the scammers come in. I normally call it the empty value chain. They want to shortcut, and they want to get it easy. The scammers can be two. The breeder himself or herself, for lack of integrity, can fake from records, the breeding rights, and keep on selling what you call colors. Right? You're selling just the phenotype.
Right.
But then you have the other side, whereby someone may not even be a breeder, but want to adopt photos, harvest photos, take photos from visits he makes to various benchmarks, and then builds a Facebook account, post those photos on social media. Some even trying to cross the border to East Africa to try and sell our colleagues in East Africa those breeds. And when you follow, you find they will always start with the transaction. I'm selling this animal at this price, and you said it, we deliver. I'll advise farmers, when that comes in your conversation, please don't be lazy, because that's the biggest problem. Even as much as we have the social media, you have to get to see what you're getting.
Right.
You have to consult those people who are in the know-how. However, we have lost opportunities with the Livestock Bill 2024. It was meant to address quite a number of these challenges because it was supposed to have addressed the regulation of the commercial breeders, whereby they could have regulated the genetics we are going to get into the country. They were to regulate what you feed, how you breed those animals. Again, the support systems that the farmers are supposed to get. It was supposed also to address that.
Right.
It was supposed to address Peter's area of nutrition. It was also supposed to address things like the controls in terms of even the accessories and the veterinary medicine.
Right.
But now that it was muted for a while, because I'm sure after farmers get to know what we are losing, it will have to come back.
Right.
But in a nutshell, if you are a breeder and if you want to start breeding a certain animal, you'd rather start first of all as a breeder to register with the breed society.
Right.
Like for example, if it is DOPA, you register with DOPA Society of Kenya. If it is Hampshire, which he is a member, you would register with the Hampshire Breeder Society. For boas and other animals we are coming up with, we have Borans, we have Saiwo, and like that.
Right.
So that's where all the breeders in a certain line are incubated, regulated, and even the value chain issues are addressed, like control of prices. So if you are a buyer, you start from there. Go to the website, consult those who are managing the society. Ask them who are the registered breeders. Then from there, you'll start now getting who are breeders in your area. And then I can assure you, if someone cons you and is a member of a certain society, definitely will get the consequences. However, I'll say there are a few challenges. They are evolving, but there are challenges in the sense that farmers are yet to reap benefits of being members of various societies. And that's where the bill was supposed to address. And I know there are quite a number of efforts from the government trying to empower the societies. And also, we have now the umbrella body that keeps all the animal records if you are a registered breeder, called the Kenya Stud Book. So it is always good also to register with them.
Thank you so much for that. In 30 seconds, maybe you've mentioned something very key on the livestock bill, which of course was withdrawn in August last year. When it comes back, because there's going to be a lot of public participation as they promised, what are those very key things you want to see given priority so that farmers like you, Jerry, David, and also our experts here can benefit from the livestock value chain?
I think every new effort that is coming into breeding, we must start with public participation. We are losing it because we want to start from the technicalities. Let's first of all engage farmers, public participation. Let them understand what, and actually that's why it was withdrawn, because people are told you'll be licensed, you'll not be allowed to keep animals, you'll have to pay, you cannot come up with a factory to process your feeds. So that was not the debate. We lost it because there was no public participation. Then from there, we would want to see a lot of regulation in terms of who is doing what and where is it done. Because I'm sure if it is vaccination, it becomes very difficult to know where to take the vaccine. If it is a certain breed, even veterinaries don't know, because there are some even diseases that affect specific breeds. The other thing is when you want to aggregate numbers to get the benefit of economies of scale when you are selling your animals, where do you get those farmers? So a lot of data need to be kept. So the bill actually was a plus for all of us.
So public participation first before technicality.
And
now I knew what you're nodding. It's coming from the heart, right? All right, so we are going to continue with that conversation shortly. But for now, let us have a conversation with our farmers, because right here at Kenya's Gold, we're very keen on making sure that our farmers are thriving in not just agriculture, but also in agribusiness. And one of the solutions that we are giving you so that you're able to achieve that growth is by making sure that you are part of a cooperative society. Remember, a cooperative society is the voice of a farmer. When you are in one, you do stand a higher chance of getting financial support from various financial institutions like the Cooperative Bank. Also, you get to have quality farm inputs. Here we're talking about your seeds, your fertilizers, your seedlings, also market for your produce at the end of the season, and also professional agronomy services. And remember, you only need to be about 10 members to form a cooperative society. And also right now, as many farmers get ready for planting, I know we are looking for seeds, for fertilizers, watu wameanza kubook mbegu, and probably your money is tight. Yani pesa haijatoshea venye inafaa. You do not have to worry, because Cooperative Bank is offering you various credit solutions, including one we do call a working capital loan, which is offered to farmers, individual farmers or farmers in cooperative society for the purpose of buying quality farm inputs. And just in case you're a business person, uko na duka mahali ambapo you're selling agrochemicals to farmers, utaki mkulima kuja kwa shamba yako, kwa duka yako, anataka kubuy the chemicals and the seeds and they don't get them. So in case you want to stock your shop, you can also take a loan that we call a stock financing. You stock up your shop, wakulima wakishanunua, you pay your loan, and remember, you can take this loan as many times as possible. So dear farmer, take advantage of being part of a cooperative society and also the various credit solutions that are offered to you farmers by the Cooperative Bank. Now we're taking another break right now. When we come back, our health experts will talk to us about common mistakes ambazo wameona wakulima wengi wakifanya kwa shamba, which lead to diseases and losses in the farms. Also, we'll be getting answers to our farm joke. That and more when we come back. We're back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Continuing with our conversation to you, Dr. Kibet. He was to talk to us about practices, mistakes that our farmers do in their farms that could lead to animals getting sick and also losses in the farm.
I think one big mistake first, I'll start with farmers waiting for disease outbreaks so that they can start vaccinating their animals. They don't keep records. I think I have some of my farmers, we vaccinate this disease 3 months ago. Then it's like, bado unakumbuka siku tuli vaccinate. So because there are no records, so you won't know the right time to vaccinate them. So another thing is treating the animals themselves, overuse of antibiotics. Then you use the same drugs every now and then until the disease is resistant to the drug.
Right.
So you lose the animals there. Another thing is about breeding. Things farmers do is using the same male sheep to breed the kids. I think that is inbreeding and actually it damages the pure lines of the breed of. And then another thing mostly is overdosing the dewormers mostly, using the same dewormer but different trade names, thinking that they have changed the drug. So you realize that they lose the animals because of worms, simple things like that, and they don't consult their vets.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I believe David and Jerry tumesikia some of the practices that we should not repeat moving forward, and every farmer who's watching us back at home. I'll come to you, Mr. William. Please talk to us about in the importing space, given that you are a professional certified livestock importer, what is commonly imported, what is highly in demand, and also when we're talking about technology and innovation in livestock farming, sana sana utaisikia kwa crops, oh, there's AI, there's drones, and we have seen them in practical use with our farmers, but we're not seeing so much of it with livestock farming. Hata sheep, it's so rare. Nione mkulima amekuja na kagadget hapo. Is the uptake moving on okay in the livestock sector? Do we have technology that we're embracing so far?
I think as a livestock importer, I would say that there is a rising demand in Kenya for exotic breeds. Fortunately or unfortunately, Kenya is one of the biggest importers of live animals. Whereas we know with the alternatives, we can import embryos, we can import semen. And the trigger has been the private sector has largely been left. But I'm happy I have seen CAGRIC mobilizing and doing a lot of public participation and sensitizing farmers about the existence of various semen and like that. But in sheep sector, the highest demand is for dopers. There is a lot of import on dopers, basically because almost every county hosts a certain number of dopers. Now, the other emerging sheep that is coming up strongly is the meat master, which is giving doper competition in terms of the growth rate, the prolificacy, and adaptability to hard conditions. There is also Hampshire, Merino, but on micro levels due to the numbers. We have very few breeders of Merino and Hampshire. Then when it comes to technology, unfortunately, the technology is not at that level you compare with cows and that kind of breeds. But we still have technology in identity, especially with ear tags. We have the scanners of RFID ear tags. We have some basic record-keeping systems whereby you can track your breeding cycles, vaccination cycles, reminders, and that kind of thing. But it is a clarion call to all programmers at the university to start skewing, programming, and coming up with software and solutions in agriculture.
Thank you so much for that. Dr. Muya, we are having a challenge of grazing land inaenda ikipungua. Areas where we had vast spaces for farmers to feed their animals, say tunaweka maploti, and this is leading to people quitting animal husbandry because of nitatoa api feeds. What is the future when it comes to animal feeds? Because nutrition and genetics, 50-50. You can get your genetics right. If your nutrition is off, zero work. So what's the way forward, given that we have a fast disappearing grazing land?
Thank you so much. The Kenyan system right now, ya kuweka kondoo, it is slightly moving from the traditional means of extensive grazing to semi-intensive grazing systems. What this means is that zamani tumekuwa na wakulima ambao they used to just let their animals graze openly with minimal intervention. Lakini right now we are having a clutch of farmers coming up with new systems of even supplementing their animals to achieve faster live weights for the market. So what this one means is that we are producing very many animals in a short duration of time, hence we are able to meet the market demands. So what we are advising our farmers, avoid issues of overgrazing, avoid issues of overstocking to prevent depletion of the resources that we have.
Right.
So what I would recommend to farmers who are getting to sheep farming, whenever you plan to set up this business, engage a vet, also engage us nutritionists who are specified in this field, because we can come to your field, even identify the right animals for your farm, also do analysis of the grass varieties that you have, and recommend areas of supplementation for you to have a better herd and a more productive herd.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We're winding up this conversation now, but maybe Mr. David, in 20 seconds, for that young person who's watching, anataka kuingia katika kazi ya kuweka kondoo, lakini amekuwa kidhania, who cares about kondoo, huko hakuna pesa. You who's been doing this for very many years, what advice do you have for that young person who's watching you right now?
Asante sana kwa hiyo swali, ni swali nzuri sana. Advice wa Kenya na nchi za nje kwamba tufuge hawa mifugo wa Red Maasai kwa sababu ni wa maana sana. Kula awali walikuwa wame crossbreed na Dorpers na Blackhead. Lakini sasa wamekuja kuona hii kondoo ni muhimu sana.
Right.
Mimi naambia wa Kenya mrudi kwa hii mifugo ya Red Maasai,
right,
kwa sababu ni mfugo wa maana kabisa.
Right.
La pili, nataka kushukuru wafadhili wetu ambao wametushika mkono. KALRO, WILRI, KAGRIC, NRF.
Right.
Kwa sababu hao ndio wametushika mkono. Mimi nikiwa nimeanza peke yangu, tukakuja kuingia cooperative ambayo inaitwa EPC Elatia Cooperative Society.
Right.
Ndio wametushika mkono mpaka tukafika hapa.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. David, for that young person mwenye amekusikiza sasa ameelewa kuna umuhimu wa kuweka Red Maasai. Thank you so much, and thank you all of you for being our guest today. Mr. David Njeria wa Gen Z, Mr. William, thank you so much, Dr. Muya, and also Dr. Kibet. Thank you so much for being with us today. And of course, we have to wind up by all of you giving me the answer to our farm joke question of the day. I can see you're smiling. Hizi ni smiles za watu ambao wako na the correct answer. Mr. William, what's a fisherman's favorite part in a payslip? Jerry, Mr. William?
I think that's the money.
Money?
Yes.
The fish.
Fish?
Yes.
Mr. David?
I think money.
Money? Dr. Muya?
The correct answer? It is the net.
Right, and the answer is net salary.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Did you get the drift? All right, thank you so much. And with that, we have come to the end of the show and also the end of our journey series on sheep farming. A very special thanks to all the farmers that opened their doors to us over the last couple of months, and also the experts that we've had. Thank you so much, our guests, for being here, and of course our audience for following our programs every single day of the week. We say a very big thanks. We'll see you again tomorrow. The agenda will be on technology and innovation, and we will be continuing with our journey series on tissue culture in Kenya. Thank you for watching. My name is Violeta Ngina. Goodbye.